Good morning, everyone. Another beautiful day. The sun's out, but it's cold, and we're still reading Psycho-Cybernetics. I believe we'll probably finish it up today. We're on the section that's about questions and answers, and the last one we did was success. So we'll be starting today with the subject matter of tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and start reading. Mosey on down the road through the book here, and I think, like I said, we should finish this up pretty fast, actually. Anyway, the subject tomorrow. What did you, rascal? Oh, you knocked something down. Okay. Tomorrow. Question. How do I overcome procrastination? Answer. Though we are born equal, we inherit different characteristics. Still, one thing we inherit is good measure, is the ability to put off things until tomorrow. Many of us hold on to this talent for a lifetime. We have no courses in school or colleges on doing things tomorrow. Yet, if one should give such a course, few of us would not take it. No sleeping in this class. This doubtless would be the most popular course on the campus. Now, how do I believe in the art of leisure? But this is different from leaving things until tomorrow. Indeed, idle people have less leisure for it. It is the reward of work that prepares the body and mind for tomorrow. To do things tomorrow is a negative philosophy because no one has ever seen tomorrow. Nevertheless, there is a special form of philosophy which teaches how to do things tomorrow constructively. Group together certain quantities that you feel are distasteful. For example, you don't like hate. Add a few others to the list, such as insolence, bigotry, envy, malice, indolence, boredom, revenge, slander, and finally, lack of faith in yourself, in others, and in God. As soon as you become poisoned with any of these emotions, now is the time to get lazy and say it can wait till tomorrow. This is a positive tomorrow habit. I have answered this question indirectly, and I guess, but one way you overcome procrastination is by becoming aware of the ludicrousness and evasion it involves. It makes you aware of the evasiveness of the common tomorrow philosophy. I hope I'm helping you to overcome procrastination. Subject. Truth. How do you appraise yourself? Is the question. It is remarkable that we least objective in appraising ourselves, masterly in our understanding of others, we may still be irrational in understanding ourselves. From what I have read, even the great Sigmund Freud whose creative and courageous work has had such impact on our thinking, could not completely fathom the mysteries of his own mind. And so it goes with others. A psychiatrist, master of technical concepts, may have a distorted, untruthful view of himself. The judge, who dictates his life to justice and truth, may know little truth about himself. Now, what is your truth about yourself? Do you feel inferior because you never made as much money as someone else? Is your truth that as a single woman you are a total failure because you didn't marry? Or do you have belief in a physical feature shows inferiority, a long nose or a weak chin or whatever that might be? Or do you destroy yourself with other truths? Too many people see only negation when they think they see truths about themselves. They block off joy because they are so critical of themselves. Their truths are distortions. Stop short changing yourself and de-hypnotize yourself from your ridiculous attacks on yourself. Try to be objective. Give yourself some justice for a change. Then you may be able to move forward into a more creative life. Next subject, unhappiness. Question, how do you break the unhappiness habit? Answer, put up a mental mirror in front of yourself in the front of your mind. The image you see there is yourself as others see you, as the world sees you. Study the image carefully. Be a creative mind watcher. Look at it without sympathy or favor, but quite objectively, for that is how the world looks at you. Now, are there any minutes of the day when you have reason to be humiliated by the image's behavior? Or, to coin a word, let us say, unproud of its behavior? Yes, at last, there are these minutes too. And most of these minutes you are ashamed of are the ones you are devoting to a foolish, childish, time-wasting, or health-destroying habit. You are looking at yourself now as the world sees you. And of course, you wish the world to see you at your best. You do not wish to look foolish, childish, or weak-willed. There's only one way to avoid that. End the habit. You are a mistake maker, but thank God, you're also a mistake breaker. That is the essence of creative mind watching. Look into that mental mirror when the habit next gets its grip on you. And of course, I mean that common habit of ours, the unhappiness habit. The mirror makes an ugly sigh then. How much better and how easy to make it a sigh that will please the eyes instead. We substitute the happiness habit as we visualize the ingredients of the happiness mechanism. And mark my word, you will find that the habit of unhappiness almost magically has gone. To help you break the unhappiness habit, remember the words of James Russell Lowell. The misfortunes hardest to bear are those which never come. Question: can you make a habit of unhappiness? Answer: yes, by refusing to let go of the mistakes and the frustrations of yesterday. No one is perfect. You are neither superior or nor inferior, capable of blunder, and you are also capable of rising above it. Unhappiness becomes a habit through constant worry, constant fear, constant negative feelings we invoke from the past in an undertaking in the present. These are the ingredients that express the state of unhappiness. Remember then only to avoid them. 1. A frown on the face instead of a smile. 2. Sad instead of cheerful. 3. Not friendly to others. 4. Critical of others, critical of ourselves. Intolerant, lacking understanding. 5. Not successful in understanding the personality we don't want to be. 6. Letting our own opinion color facts in a negative way. 7. Not learning to react calmly to things every day. And 8. Living on negative feelings of the past and the present. Remember that no one can make you unhappy without your consent. Next subject, weakness. Question: why do men punish themselves so much? Answer: they do when they think they have committed the crime of weakness. Many American men punish themselves because their self-expectations stem from fantasy more than from reality. Many men expect themselves to live up to the absurd ideals of strength. He may also expect himself to be totally fearless, even in situations where fear is normal. He will wear a stoical mask to hide fear from others. He scorns tears. This is a deprivation because crying in times of bereavement is natural. The strong man who never cries makes himself weaker, not stronger. Such a man is always in hiding, more than an escaped convict fleeing police, concealing his human weaknesses. When will he show fear or indecision? Or perhaps he will make a mistake. Then he will reject himself and project another unrealistic image of himself into his mind until once again something pierces his armor and he cannot never win. If you expect yourself to be such a tough guy, you must resolve to change. You must feel you are worthwhile even if your muscles do not bulge, even if you sometimes are afraid. Just as you cherish your strengths, you must accept also your weaknesses. You can change, and you must. This is what psycho-cybernetics means: steering your mind to a productive, useful goal. Subject: weekend. Question: what steps should you take to psycho yourself up Monday morning after a nice weekend? Answer: in the first place, a weekend, or any vacation for that matter, should not be a period of relaxation when you escape momentarily from the tensions of the day so that you can renew your energies for the task ahead of you. But simultaneously, a rest period, a period of escape, which you use not to run away from yourself, but to get to know yourself a little bit better. As, as Thoreau said, a retreat can be of value to increase the soul's estate. Weekends or vacations shouldn't mean running away from yourself, but rather returning to yourself by learning to be yourself and not trying to be someone else. You use your rest period to understanding your rights to reactivate the success mechanism within you and to select realistic goals that you can reach if you will refuse to let negative feelings or the failures of past sidetrack you. In other words, a weekend of fun is fine, but it should also remind you that every day you can have a weekend of profit. A vacation or retreat when home from work during your 8 hours of relaxation, you should sit in a quiet room of your mind for a few minutes and take stock of yourself. This will in no way interfere with your pleasure. It will rather enhance it. Making a habit of this is easy, and when you do, you don't have to psycho yourself up Monday morning after a nice weekend, for you've been psyching yourself up every day knowingly. When achieving a goal of this kind that belongs to you, you can say to yourself that you have had no lost weekend, but a found one. Subject: winning. Question: how do you become a winner? Answer: I'd like to tell you about the Kennedy Derby. Shortly before 4:30 p.m. on the first Saturday in May at Churchill Downs, the world's fleeciest 3-year-old thoroughbreds paraded onto the track for the 93rd Run for the Roses. Over 100,000 spectators stood and sang in the rain as the band played My Old Kentucky Home. Excitement mounted as the horses reached the starting gate, and people tensed as the starter shouted, "They're off!" The Kennedy Derby is a most exciting sporting event. For the many thousands who watch the Derby on TV or hear it on the radio, it is in a class by itself. Over 100,000 people yelling their lungs out at Churchill Downs. The contest, a grisling test, was over quickly, in 2 minutes. And to the jockey who won the Run for the Roses, it was a marvelous prize. 2 minutes, and it was over. And one man becomes the champion. Can you be a winner, a champion in your own Kentucky Derby? I believe you can. I believe all of us can. Our Kentucky Derby is a special kind that we can win every day of our lives. How? Every day we allow 2 minutes to ourselves. We sit in a quiet room and become a racing contender. We see ourselves running for our self-respect. We imagine we run toward our goal without holding ourselves back with negative feelings. Every day is a new day, a new lifetime for us when we become winners and use the confidence of our past successes in our present undertaking. When we do this, when we keep our eye on our self-respect, we never lose. We are always the winner in our run for self-fulfillment, the greatest run for the roses of mankind. And do you know something? When you run your Kentucky Derby, It is always sunny, for you can find the sun within yourself if you will only look. Question: is there a quick capsule formula for winning? Answer: there are a few absolute rules in life. Still, we must live by rules, so here are the two rules for developing a winning spirit. 1. Get tough. Get out into the world and try to survive the hard knocks of living. Get in touch with other people. Relate to them. Stay in the world without giving up your freedom. Winning seldom comes immediately. Everyone knows defeat sometimes. You must be tough. 2. Set goals. Very important. How can you win if you don't know what you want? You must set goals. This will give you a sense of direction. If your goals mean something to you, you will feel enthusiasm for attaining them, and this is a winning feeling. Your goals need not be concrete. Some important goals may be invisible. Thinking through an idea, forgiving a friend, imagining past successes. If you set meaningful goals, you are on the way to its winning spirit. If you are tough enough to attain them, then you are there. Next subject. Worry. Question: what do you mean when you say worry should be a challenge? Answer: we all worry, but worry should be a challenge to stand up to our full stature of dignity. Stress is part of living, and we must learn to cope with it and not let it destroy us. We never solve anything by carrying worry from our business to our home and then to our bed. No one forces you to do it. You must learn that when we do this, we burden ourselves with the extra unnecessary tensions that pile up on our back and weigh us down, making us less than what we are, making us walk away from ourselves, making us become the small potatoes we actually aren't. There are other extra unnecessary stresses that create extra unnecessary tensions: resentment, hatred, bigotry. These feelings hurt most the one who feels them. Our happiness mechanism is within us, really ready to work for us if we learn to communicate with ourselves first. If we become a friend to ourselves first, before we become a friend to other people, unhappiness prevents this glorious adventure in human fulfillment. It is up to us to make it a practice for 5 minutes every day to have pleasant ideas and memories. Those fine feelings of usefulness and kindness that make us part of humanity. We must make a habit of this as we would a breathing exercise every day. Habits are responses which we have learned to perform automatically, like tying your shoelaces or brushing your teeth. And it is just as easy to have the happiness habit as the unhappiness habit. The choice is yours. Good morning, Sandy.
Howdy, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
That's good.
Another beautiful, beautiful day.
Oh, that's good. Very warm here.
Very cold here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's struggling very hard to make 30.
Mm, yeah, it's been.
And probably won't make it until about 2 or 3 this afternoon, but it's trying.
Mm,
Interesting that you came in right at this moment. Believe it or not, we're on the very last page of the book.
mm.
So I'll finish it up and then we'll start a new book,
Oh, okay.
which will be kind of fun. Anyway, the last one. Subject, yesterday. Question. You said that yesterday is unimportant and we should forget it. Shouldn't we learn from our mistakes of the past? Yesterday isn't entirely irrelevant. Answer. I didn't say yesterday is irrelevant. We learn from the mistakes of the past. We learn to be on the guard not to repeat the same mistake. We also learn something more important from the past. We remember our successes and we use the confidence of past successes in our present undertaking, making a habit of this. It thus becomes second nature with us, and we can tap this confidence instantly when we need it, and we need it all the time, creating for us one of our greatest assets, instant confidence. If, however, we can't forget yesterday's blunders or the frustrations and the worries about them every day in our lives, we carry the burden of 50 extra pounds of continual chronic frustration on our mental backs and continuously living in the past, fearful of failure in the present. We develop habit of instant frustration. Now and then, we can return to the past for a moment when we walk into a room of our mind, into a gallery where we see the faces of joy and sorrow on the walls of the past. But there comes a time when we must return to the present. Keep yesterday in proper perspective. The more you live in the present, reaching realistic goals, one after the other, the less time you have to relive the errors of yesterday. This is how you forget the negative feelings of yesterday by substitution. And that is it. That is the end
Hmm.
of psycho-cybernetics. We're all done. We, me, and anyone who has listened to me has succeeded in reading one book this year, which is kind of fun. So what are you up to? Anything exciting?
Oh, I just got back from an exercise class, Silver Sneakers. It was very the one I usually go to is a lot less strenuous. This one was a lot of bending of the knees. It really bothered my knees. I told her I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the one I go to usually is a little less strenuous. But I'll see. I'll see how I feel on Tuesday morning.
So do you go, how many times a week do you go?
2 weeks, 2 days a week.
Oh, 2 days a
Tuesdays
week?
and Thursdays. Yeah. But I haven't been for a while because the weather was so crummy. I didn't feel like getting out. And I don't have any heat in my car. It's okay. Most of the time here, you don't even need heat. But there was a couple of really cold, nasty, wet days. So I didn't go. So I've been for a while.
Wow.
And I can't find the Silver Sneakers program down in Texas. So when I'm there, I don't do it. So friend told me to load it on my, she said it's on YouTube. You can load it onto your computer and do it at home. I might just do that.
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, I get YouTube all the time, but I've never downloaded anything. I've actually never had a need to, but I guess you can.
Mm.
Uh, I know with certain programs, like with Tree United, there's a couple things that I downloaded. Only one to see if I could do it, and it's in my computer. But the other thing is if I want to get a laptop,
Mm.
whereas if I'm out and about and I'm talking to somebody, I can download certain programs that pertain to True United, and then I can just, ring them right up and show people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to go on the internet to do it, which, can be quite handy, actually.
I think you still need internet to play them back, though, Robert.
Well, you need internet if they're going to sign up, for sure. Or, if they're going to, well, if they're going to buy anything, they have to register. So, yeah, you'd have to have the internet for that.
Did you see Dr. Nico's speech last night?
I did. It was very good. I missed the first 7 or 8 minutes because I was running a little bit late, but I did watch it.
Well, I rushed home from my meeting because I wanted to see it. And I pulled in the driveway, and Doug's here with the girlfriend, so they stayed for a couple of hours. So I never did get to see it. So I asked Reverend Dave if it was recorded, and he was pretty sure it was. So he said as soon as he gets it, he'll send it along. But I really wanted to hear it. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that they recorded it, and I haven't looked at my email yet this morning to see if he sent anything like that. But I'm sure he will. And like usual, it was a very good meeting. He went over a lot of interesting things, mostly Tree United, our future, and what's coming. Not direct access to acknowledge exactly something that's coming, but the acknowledgement that there are several things that are coming down the pike. He couldn't, basically, I guess he couldn't mention any of them because that's business. You got to make sure that the deal is signed, so to speak.
Yeah.
Before you can let the cat out of the bag or you're liable to mess it all up.
Well, I had a heck of a time getting on the site yesterday. I had to change my password like twice.
Oh, wow.
And, what a time I had. I finally got on, but I just having trouble navigating. I heard I played the Tuesday night call because I wasn't on it, and I heard Reverend Dave say that the links are back on the Brand Bucks things, and there's no link on the Dr. Emmel.
Yeah, there's no links there. I do know that they said that this thing is supposed to be finished up by Friday, so I guess they're still working on a few things.
Okay.
But, issues is issues. I know I've got an issue that's extremely frustrating. I went to do my Tree United card, your, how you get paid thing.
Hmm.
And so it says, I put all the information in, went through the whole thing, and then it says, we do not accept P.O. boxes.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I live in Wells, Nevada, a town of just a little over 1,000 people. Mail is not delivered to people's houses. They have a post office box. They have a post office, and you have to have a box or you don't get mail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't understand that. Now, I do understand why some companies don't like post office boxes because there can be some degree of fraud involved. Because I know, for example, you can transfer mail from one box to another box to another box to another box, and nobody ever knows where you are because the mail is being forwarded on and on and on to wherever you actually are. But when I go in there and I put in my physical address, and then it tells me that it doesn't recognize it, and USPS can't find my address, then I get a little upset with the idea that, okay, you're trying to tell me I don't exist. What do you guys have to do? Drive your car out here and See for
Golly.
yourself that I live here.
Absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, Tree and Night have been sending me my products for the last year or so, and you're telling me I don't exist? Come on now. But we all have our own frustrations within what's going on. But I think it'll be all solved, taken care of, whatever.
I sure hope so. That sounds like a darn silly problem,
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna just real quick. I'm gonna put it over here. This is the book that we're going to start,
Mm-hmm.
and it does show on the back cover there different places that he's gone, had his show and so on. All right, hold on a moment. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Well, I'm on a webinar. All right, I love you. Yeah, it was just Loretta. I try to tell her I'm on a webinar. She sometimes still calls me. Oh, well. Anyway, that's the book. And I'm going to start out this time by reading the, I don't know what they call it. I guess it's a footnote, in reference to what the book's all about. So I'm going to start out with that because I think this is kind of interesting before you even get into the book. Okay? So anyway, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Millions who have watched Kreskin's thought, perception, or suggestibility feats on his own television show, or as a guest of Johnny Carson, Mike Douglas, or Merv Griffin, have asked, how does he do it? The amazing world of Kreskin, based on his own personal experiences, answers this and many other questions.
Robert, I can hardly hear you.
Really? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start over then. It can't hurt nothing. All right, millions who have watched Kreskin's thought, perception, or suggestibility feats on his own television show, or as a guest of Johnny Carson, Mike Douglas, or Merv Griffin, have asked, how does he do it? The amazing world of Kreskin, based on his own personal experiences, answers this and many other questions. Thought perception. Kreskin tells graphically how he perceives a thought, how it arrives telepathically in his mind. His ability ranges from the reading of a social security number in a lady's purse at 200 feet to the chilling experience of extracting a man imprisoned in a safe by mentally perceiving the combination. In these fascinating experiments, his subjects have been the man of the street as well as the famous. He once telepathically communicated with TV star Carol Burnett over a 3,000-mile distance. Kreskin concedes that most people are prone to suggestibility, even to participating in riots. He tells what is known of the conditioning, how he manipulates the human mind, and the sometimes startling results. No less startling is his content that the sleep-like trance of hypnosis does not exist. It is a well-meant fraud, he claims, after hypnotizing an estimated 3,500 people. He discovered that he could achieve the same manifestation with the subject wide awake. In addition to relating his own experiences in the field of parapsychology, the story of his development as a mentalist, Kreskin takes a sharp but humorous knife to deal with mystic arts and the occult. His contempt for most mediums and seers is evident. During his adventures and research into the occult, he's found some interesting people who would think that Lincoln went to a seance, that Edison once talked about inventing a machine to communicate with spirits, that the daredevil Houdini, who was even afraid to drive a car, laid a trap to expose mediums after his death. In this tour through his own amazing world, Kreskin drops off information on how to tilt the tables, lower the metabolic rate through autosuggestion, achieve automatic writing, even if a handy way to beat the blackjack odds at Las Vegas. There has never been a book about telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and psychokinesis and hypnotism quite like the amazing world of Kreskin. That's just a little bit about the man that we're going to read about.
Mm-hmm.
So starting out, I'm going to hold this up too, just so people can, I got to move it to make sure people can see it. That's basically the title of the book, The Amazing World of Kreskin.
How long ago was that written, Robert?
Let's see here. I believe it was copyrighted in 1973.
Oh, wow.
So it's a much older book.
Mm-hmm.
He has this thing here: to Mom, Dad, and Marie, to whom 20 years ago I promised I'd dedicate my first book.
Mm.
Now, I can't tell you for sure just how many books he's actually written. This could be the only one, or he may have written others, but I'm not aware of them. Okay?
Yeah. Should be fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to start with the author's note. We probably won't be able to even get started actually into the book itself and probably till, what's the day? Thursday, Saturday. So, because I'm just going to read over, and get to the point where we're actually going to get started here. Anyway, the author's note. As a performer, a mentalist, for lack of a better self-description, I spent several hours daily in concert halls, before college audiences, or in front of TV cameras, exploring the scientific field of parapsychology. To amuse, intrigue, cause wonder, I suggest to people that they have been transported to the Arctic. Suddenly they shiver without the nonsense of hypnotic trance. I tell them that they are moon people, and they begin to converse in moon talk, drawing on an incredible pool of hidden imagination. Non-verbally, I direct them to sing to a single name in a phone book out of thousands. They select it correctly, though a kind of telepathy, I have often successful at thought perception. I do not claim to know the how and the why of these responses, but apparently I'm in a rather truthful company because most reputable parapsychologists admit that beyond theory, they do not have the slightest idea of the true nature of extrasensory perception, nor can they explain the unstable psychic phenomenon terminated or termed PSI, which supposedly keys ESP. While I'm always in awe of the mental tools with which I work, I'm not in awe of the field itself. Why should we be reverent or mystical about something that is a part of everyone? From that standpoint, or the phenomenon begs for exploration. Further, all of us are living laboratories of the mind. So research cannot be limited to a handful of psychologists and um, psychiatrists. Unlike medical or university laboratory test subjects undergoing experimentation in sharply defined areas, my ESP volunteers are audiences of several hundreds, up to thousands, all off the streets. They react normally and spontaneously without the more or less controlled conditions of experimental parapsychology. I think it is a plus. Yet, I have learned and relearned one constant. We know so very little of the workings and true capabilities of the human mind. No week, month, or year has gone by that I haven't been baffled by the responses, challenged by the unknown. For years, as both a stage and occasional clinical hypnotist, I was under the grand delusion that I was putting people to sleep, elaborately entrancing them according to a formula that dates back to Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer, M-E-S-M-E-R. Actually, I think I was hypnotizing myself.
Mhm.
Then I discovered I could do exactly the same thing with the subject wide awake by use of a developed form of suggestibility. As of now, I do not think that hypnosis, with its sleep-like trance, exists. It is somewhat a well-meant fraud. I don't believe that the sleep trance has ever existed except as a cooperative and active imaginative response from the subject, cleverly guided into a role. Sleeping Beauty is very much awake,
Yeah.
peering mentally with shrewd eyes. In the pages that follow, covering my experiences in the entertainment, ESP, as well as hypnosis, with a few negative reactions to mediums, seers, and the like, I would prefer to offer an exact scientific explanation of what occurs when I perceive a thought or suggest a sky full of flying saucers. Unfortunately, I can only reveal how I attempt to do it and how it works for me. We may not know the answers for another century. Perhaps we'll never really know. but we should try to find out. Hopefully, ESP will one day be reversed to mean phenomenon scientifically explained. Many hours of taped memories, hundreds of questions went into this book. Probing constantly was written Theodore Taylor, who took on the task of organizing the material and placing it into manuscript form. On show business hours, we worked in dressing rooms and hotels in Las Vegas and California before and after performances. I remember one midnight taping session in a waiting room at Los Angeles International Airport. Nearby, a suspected hijacker was being frisked by security guards. It seemed so strange to be talking about poltergeists and mediums at that particular moment. And then it says Kreskin, Eaton, Pennsylvania, March 1973. So the contents, author's note, part 1, ESP as entertainment, part 2, the power of suggestion. And so we'll close with that, and we will start the reading of part 1 on Saturday, ESP as entertainment. So that ought to be interesting. Or at least I hope it's interesting. I know it'll be interesting to me because I read this book, but that's almost, probably 20 years, Brian. So I probably don't remember too much of what I read. Of course, on the other hand, maybe I will. It's like watching a movie, you know.
Yeah.
You watch a movie and you sit there glued to it and you can't remember what the next scene is going to be, and yet as it's going along, you know you've already seen it.
Yeah.
But you can't remember how it ended.
That's why it's nice that you don't remember, so you can watch it again and again and again.
Yeah, so you just keep watching, and even though you're watching it, every time a new scene comes up, your mind's, oh, I saw that already. Oh, you know, it's kind of a funny sense or funny feeling that you have, and yet you still can't remember the ending.
I remember when we were, kids, like young, we'd go to the movie and they would run the movie, over and over and over again. And so silly, we thought every time we watched it that maybe it would turn out different.
Yeah. And ironically, they got games out now that kids play, and you can do that.
Yeah.
You can play the game and then push number 2, and the game, it's the same game, but it changes, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that's where technology has taken us, way, way overboard, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna just real quick quit recording. So I'm gonna just say goodbye to all those people that have watched or are watching or are going to watch in the near future. And that I love you all, and I hope you all have a great day, and may God bless you, and may the world treat you the way you want to be treated. So I'm just going to say goodbye, and we'll see you on Saturday, same place, same station, same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.